All right, shalom, shalom. I had to reload this video. It got blocked as I loaded it up yesterday, so I had to reload it. I had to take out the video clips, okay, that I had before my lesson. Okay, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and put the links in the description box. If anybody's interested in the videos, if you don't want to watch the videos, okay, that are going to be attached, then pretty much, I did the lesson based, okay, on a woman that did a podcast, okay, going into, the event that happened, in Chicago a couple weeks ago. She was going into so-called black, so-called brown coming together and reparations, and she was going into a lot of history, okay, a lot of things that she brought forth, okay, but ultimately, she doesn't have, she doesn't have the breath, you see, and that's the mindset of the majority of our people. They don't have the breath, so that's why they call upon, carnal means, okay, of being restored. But we know that we need Yahweh Shai, you see. But that's pretty much okay what the lesson's about. But again, I'll go ahead and I'll attach the links in the description box, and Lord willing, okay, the lesson it'll edify somebody. Shalom. All right, shalom. Just a brother Shakar here with another lesson through the power and spirit of Yahweh Ba'Hashem Yahushai. Before I get started, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Ba'Hashem Yahushai Ba'Hashem Rakah Kodash, and double honors to the apostles, the bishops, and the elders of the great millstone from which I learned this truth. Peace and blessings to the house of David, doing his work with all righteousness, truth, and sincerity. And I want to say shalom to the whole full elect. Shalom. All right, I just wanted to get into a lesson, going into that, that clip. You had that podcaster, or I'm not sure what platform, she's really pushing. But nonetheless, she had a video, and I caught that video, okay, or that clip on Instagram. And the lady's name, the woman's name is Bernice Dahl, she calls herself. Ultimately, she's going into what happened, almost 2 weeks ago, down there in Chicago, okay, with these devils, coming in and raiding that apartment complex. But hey, this has been the warning that's been going out, that these devils, they're getting ready to move. They're moving, you see, and they're getting ready to come, okay, with that great wrath, because they know that their time is short, you see. But ultimately, this woman, okay, she's she doesn't have the breath, man. She brings out, some good history, she makes some good points, but she's talking about coming together, so-called black, so-called brown, coming together, and doing something. We're not going to get out of here, okay? We're not going to get out of the situation, by any carnal means. Hey, we need Yahweh, okay, Ba'Hashem Yahushai. Okay, we need him to send his son Yahweh Shai, okay, to deliver us. You see, we're not going to do it. But again, anything that we're going to do, by human means, you see, it's just not going to happen. And we can't fight this damn devil. Okay, Esau was given the blessing of the sword. There's no way to beat him. Okay, and with his own weapons. You see, there's no way. It's not going to happen. She's talking about reparations, and they're against anybody that's not light skinned and blue eyed, and so on and so forth. So she's including all these other nations, like if we're all one. No, it's all about, okay, Israel, man, the Israelites, so-called Negroes, so-called Hispanics, and so-called Native Americans, and even those that look at the nations, because it's not about, okay, skin color, although, okay, we got to put it that way, okay, to to make the point, you see, but nevertheless, okay, this is just one person, and you have many, okay, that are in the same mindset. They're thinking again that we're going to be able to do something by human means, which we're not going to be able to do. Again, we need Yahweh Ba'Hashem Yahushai. So these people, okay, that are presenting these things, again, should bring out some good points, some good history, You see, but that's not okay. That's not the way. Hey, we're gonna get out of here. Again, we need the Lord. You see, because these people that are presenting these things, okay, or that are bringing out these podcasts, okay, or whatever their platform is, they don't have the breath, man. There's no breath in them. So let's go real quick to Ezekiel. And let's go to the 37th chapter. And we're going to start at the top. And I'm going to read it in the NLT. Now, the subheading in the King James, it says, Vision of the Valley of Dry Bones. Now, in the NLT, it says, A Valley of Dry Bones. It says, The Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yoshai took hold of me, and I was carried away by the Spirit of the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yoshai to a valley filled with bones. It says he led me all around among the bones that covered the valley floor. It says they were scattered everywhere across the ground, see, and were completely dried out. Because really, outside, okay, of the men of the Lord, okay, and those that believe this 100% truth, hey, that this place has no water, man. Okay, it's dry. It's completely dry. Okay, they haven't been given, okay, the fountain of living water. Okay, this truth. You see, they're still engulfed, okay, with the deceptions that they've been indoctrinated with. You see, their mindset is not right. They still have the mindset, okay, well, they have that Gentile mindset, okay, thinking they're so-called black, thinking they're so-called Mexican, so-called Puerto Rican, so-called Native American, okay, so on and so forth. You see, they don't have it. They're dead, man. They're dead, okay, from the neck up. Now, when you go into that word valley, let's get it. Let's get that word valley. And it's H1237. I'll go ahead and play it.
Strong's H1237. Big Ah. Big Ah.
Right. Okay, and the definition, let's go to the definition. It says a valley, a plain, a level valley. It says properly a split. It says i.e. a wide level valley between mountains, a plain valley. Now when you go to the lexicon and you read it here, it says a valley as if cleaving and separation of mountains. You see, it says, as you read down here, it says, but more often, say a plain country, widely extended plain. It says that in which Babylon, see, was situated. It says, see Genesis, see 11 and 2. Now, when you go to the book of Genesis 11 and 2, okay, what is that speaking of? Let's get it. Genesis 11 and verse 2. It says, and it came to pass, as they journeyed from the east, that they found a plain, see, in the land of Shinar, and they dwelt there. Now, when you go into the land of Shinar, okay, that's speaking about an area, okay, ancient Babylon, okay, Mesopotamia. Matter of fact, let me grab this. Yeah, right here. It says, see, Shinar, and this is in the AI overview, it says Shinar was an ancient region, see, in lower Mesopotamia, located between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers in what is now modern-day Iraq. It corresponds, listen, to the southern part of Babylonia and is known in the Bible as the location of the cities like Babel, okay, Babylon, okay, Erech, or Uruk, and where the tower, see, of Babel was built. See, so it's a plain, so it's a plain land, okay, flat land. It's a lowland. Okay, when you make the comparison to so-called America, okay, well, so-called America, it's low in morals. Okay, now when it comes to so-called America, okay, there's different types of regions, meaning you have your coastal lines, you have mountain regions, but you also have, okay, plains, and you got something that's called, okay, the Great Plains, because not all so-called America, okay, is a valley, but when you go and you search out, okay, the Great Plains, it's going to tell you, okay, that the Great Plains, okay, it's a lowland. Matter of fact, let me grab it. Right here it says, let me see. It says yes, and this is in the AI overview. It says yes, the Great Plains can be considered, see, a low land. It says relative to the Rocky Mountains. Let me see. Right here it says interior lowlands. It says the Great Plains are in fact the western part, see, of vast interior lowlands. It says while the term plain suggests flatness, the area features a variety of elevations and landforms, but its overall character is of a gently sloping, low-lying plateau, okay, which matches up, okay, with the land of Shinar. Listen, let me see. Let me grab this. Now I ask the question, okay, in the AI overview it says, would the Great Plains and Shinar be considered lowlands? And this is what it gave me. This is the AI overview. It says yes, both the Great Plains and the ancient land of Shinar will generally be considered lowlands, see, and fertile for vegetation. It says though the Great Plains are encompass significant variations in elevation, the land of Shinar is described as a fertile plain between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers, while the Great Plains in America feature fertile grasslands, particularly, see, in their eastern portions. It's also grab this, because I asked the question. I said, would the Great Plains and Shinar be considered bread baskets? See, and the answer here from AI Overview says yes. Both the ancient region of Shinar and the modern Great Plains can be considered bread baskets for the respective eras, as both were major grain-producing centers that supplied food to other regions. It says Shinar was a bread basket for the ancient Near East, while the Great Plains became a bread basket, for North America, feeding much of the country, and the world. You see, so it's synonymous. Okay, that Shinar, okay, was in ancient Babylon. Okay, and now we're right here in so-called, okay, Babylon the Great. Matter of fact, let me grab this too. Yeah, because I was looking at this. What is the land of Shinar? See, in Zechariah. See, and it takes you to what? The book of Zechariah, chapter 5, verse 11. It says, listen, it says, the land of Shinar refers to Babylonia, modern-day Iraq, the historical location of the Tower of Babel, see, and is depicted as a place where the place personified wickedness represented, see, by a woman in an ephah will be taken to an established and permanent, see, temple or dwelling. It says the vision symbolizes, listen, the Most High is cleansing the land from wickedness and the removal, see, of sin to a place where it will remain, suggesting a connection, see, to the eternal judgment, see, of evil. Right here, when you go here to the symbolic meaning of Zechariah 5:11, it says wickedness banished. It says the passage describes two winged women carrying a woman in a basket to the land of Shinar, says to build her a home. It says the house built, well, it says symbolic house. It says the house built for wickedness in Shinar represents the enduring nature of evil, see, and the ultimate judgment, see, that will befall it. And we know, according to the scriptures, okay, Babylon the Great is going to be destroyed, man. Okay, and it says eschatological significance. Okay, eschatology is what is the study of the end times. Listen, the vision connects Shinar, okay, Babylon, with the concept of concentrated wickedness, see, and serves as a prophetic foreshadowing, listen, of future divine judgment against all evil, drawing parallels, see, with the book of Revelation depiction, see, of Babylon, see, as a center of corruption. You see, so it ties together. So it makes sense when you speak about the Valley of Dry Bones. Okay, that's speaking about Babylon the Great, man, so-called America. Now we're gonna go ahead and go. Let's go ahead and go to let me see. I want to come back to Ezekiel 37, but actually I want to go to Zechariah of the 5th chapter first. Let's go there now. Zechariah chapter 5. And we're going to start at the top because this all ties in together. So this is Zechariah chapter 5, verse 1. And the subheading for both the King James and the NLT says, it says the flying scroll. And this is speaking about the chariot, okay? The chariots that are coming. Yahweh Shai is coming in that fathership. Okay, then you have the rest, the host of heaven. Okay, the angels. Okay, they're coming in other ships, so-called UFOs, UAPs. Okay, but we know them to be the chariots of Yahweh Bashem Yoshai. It says, I looked up again and saw a scroll flying through the air. It says, what do you see? The angel asked. I see a scroll. I replied, it appears to be about 30 feet long, and about 15 feet wide. Then he said to me, this scroll contains the curse that is going out over the entire land. It says on one side of the scroll says that those who steal will be banished from the land. And the other side says those that swear falsely will be banished, from the land. And that's exactly what this man has done. Esau, man. Okay, he's lied. Okay, he's stolen. Okay, everything he's gotten is through what ill-gotten gain. You see, through deceit, to rape, rob, and murder. It says, and this is what the Lord, Yahweh Bashem Yoshai, heaven's army says, I am sending this curse, into the house of every thief and into the house of everyone who swears falsely using my name. It says, and my curse will remain in that house and completely destroy it, even its timbers and stones. So ultimately, when the Lord gets done with this place, there's going to be nothing left, man. You see, those chariots going to play a big part in it. So you're going to have the missiles, okay, the warheads. They're going to bring that destruction. Okay, but the chariots, okay, they're going to put that cherry on top, man. Okay, it's going to be an overkill, okay, of this place, man. So you're going to have the chariots not only in so-called America, Babylon the Great, okay, but going throughout the whole four corners of the earth, man. Okay, they're going to be turning people into powder. And that's going to be the judgment, okay, that's going to come upon this great whore, man. The judgment that's going to come upon, okay, so-called America, Babylon the Great. Now let me read down to verse 5. It says, the subheading says, a woman in a basket. It says, then the angel who was talking with me came forward and said, look up and see what's coming. What is it? I asked. He replied, it's a basket for measuring grain. In the King James, it says an ephah. Okay, it was a pot or a bowl. Okay, something to measure grain, corn, salt, whatever. Again, it says, what is it? I asked. He replied, it is a basket for measuring grain and is filled, with the sins of everyone throughout the land. It says, then the heavy lead cover was lifted off the basket, and there was a woman sitting inside it. And that woman, okay, represents Israel, man, because the Lord compares, okay, Israel to a comely and delicate woman. Matter of fact, let me grab that. That's Jeremiah chapter 6 and verse 2. It says, I have likened, the daughter of Zion, into a comely and delicate woman. So that woman in that basket, okay, represents, okay, Israel, the nation of Israel. Again, I'll read it again. It says, then the heavy lead cover was lifted off the basket, and there was a woman sitting inside it. It says, the angel said, the woman's name is Wickedness. And he pushed her back into the basket and closed the heavy lid again. Then I looked up and saw two women flying toward us, gliding on the wind. So they had wings like a stork, and they picked up the basket and flew into the sky. And all those two women, okay, that represents the southern and the northern kingdom. It says, where are they taking the basket? I asked the angel. He replied, to the land of Babylonia. It says, where they will build a temple, for the basket. It said, and when the temple was ready, they will set the basket there on its pedestal. Okay, so this represents, okay, the northern kingdom and the southern kingdom, okay, coming here to so-called America, okay, to be in exile, okay, to be here in this land, okay, for what? For punishment and correction. Okay, because when you read verse 11, in the King James, let me read it. And he said unto me to build it a house in the land of Shinar, and it shall be established and set there upon her own base. So this is where, okay, you're gonna have the tribes dwelling, okay, in the last times, man, right here in so-called America, okay, being exiled. Why? Because of our wickedness. You see, we got kicked out of our homeland. You see, exiled, okay, from Jerusalem, okay, from Israel. Okay, so when you go back, let's go ahead and go back to Ezekiel 37. That valley of dry bones is speaking about so-called America. Let me read it again from the top. And again, the subheading says, a valley of dry bones. The Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, he took hold of me, and I was carried away, see, by the Spirit of the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, to a valley filled with bones. He led me all around the bones that covered the valley floor. They were scattered everywhere, see, across the ground, and were completely dried out. So right now, again, okay, you only have a remnant, okay, a hopeful elect, okay, that has the correct mindset. Okay, they have the true living water, you see, but the rest, okay, they're dried up, man. Okay, they're dead man's bones. You see, they don't have the correct mindset. Then he asked me, son of man, can these bones become living people again? O sovereign Lord, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, I replied, you alone know the answer to that. Then he said to me, speak a prophetic message, see, to these dry bones and say, dry bones, listen to the word of the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. This is symbolic, okay, to the men of the Lord, man, bringing out this word, bringing out this truth. It says, this is what the sovereign Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai says, look, I am going to put breath into you, see, and make you live again. I will put flesh and muscles on you and cover you with skin. I will put breath into you, and you will come to life. Then you will know that I am the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. It says, so I spoke this message just as he told me. Suddenly, as I spoke, there was a rattling noise all across the valley. The bones of each body came together, attached themselves, see, as complete skeletons. Then I watched muscles and flesh formed over the bones. Then skin covered their bodies, but they still had no breath in them. See, and that's the mindset, okay, as a majority of our people. Okay, they understand that something's wrong, something's off. Okay, everybody agrees, okay, that we have a particular oppressor. Okay, you know, you have these individuals, they agree that there's a particular oppressor. Okay, they know something's wrong, just like back in the days, man. You had, the Black Panthers. She brought that up. Okay, you had the Brown Berets. Okay, you had the American Indian Movement, AIM. Okay, at that time, okay, there were those movements. Okay, but it wasn't right. It wasn't correct. You know, they didn't have the spirit. They didn't have the breath, man. Just like today, you got so many of these individuals, okay, with platforms. Okay, they're saying certain things that are correct. Okay, bringing out some history. Again, they know something's not right, but they don't have the breath. They think that somehow, some way, they're going to be able to get over, okay, on this damn oppressor, again, by human means. But there's no way. There's no way we're going to be able to beat this man, okay, without Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai sending his son. I'm going to read that again. It says, then as I watched muscles and flesh formed over the bones, the skin formed to cover their bodies, but they still had no breath in them. Again, that's the majority of the people, man. Okay, they don't have the correct mindset. Okay, they have no breath. It says, then he said to me, speak a prophetic message, see, to the winds, son of man, speak a prophetic message and say, this is what the sovereign Lord, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai says, come, O breath, from the four winds, breathe into these dead bodies, so they may live again. So I spoke the message as he commanded me, see, and breath came into their bodies. They all came to life and stood upon their feet, a great army. You see, and that's the men of the Lord, man. That's the men of the Lord, okay, and those that believe the 100% truth, man. Okay, those that have an understanding, those who have been granted wisdom, okay, from the Lord. It says, then he said to me, son of man, see, these bones represent the people, see, of Israel. They are saying, we have become old, dry bones, all our hope is gone, our nation is finished. Yeah, because we've been scattered. You know, we didn't know who we were as a people, but now, okay, we have an understanding, again, through the Spirit. It says, therefore prophesy to them and say, this is what the sovereign Lord, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai says, O my people, I will open your graves, see, of exile and cause you to rise again. Then I will bring you back, see, to the land of Israel. See, and that's what we're waiting on, man. We're waiting, okay, for the deliverance. Okay, those who have, okay, the correct mindset, the correct wisdom, okay, of what's really happening. It says, when this happens, all my people, it says, you will know that I am the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. It says, I will put my spirit in you, and you will live again and return home, see, to your own land. Then you will know that I, the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, has spoken, and I have done what I said. Yes, the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, see, has spoken. See, and ultimately that's going to be the deliverance, okay, of the elect, and ultimately all Israel. But on this side, okay, where the destruction is going to take place, the Lord's only dealing, okay, with the remnant. You see, that's why the majority of the people, okay, they still have no breath. Matter of fact, let me grab this. This is Second Esdras, because that breath's got to come from the Lord, man. You ain't going to get it on your own. This is Second Esdras chapter 3, and let me start off in verse 4. It says, O Lord, who bearest rule, thou spakest, see, at the beginning, when thou didst plant the earth, and that thyself alone, and commandest the people. Listen, and gavest a body unto Adam without a soul. All right, does that mean he was just running around, flopping around, okay, just with the body, okay, but then didn't have, any mindset, or didn't have anything, okay, going on? No, okay, he was alive, okay, but he didn't have the breath yet. See, the Lord had to breathe it into him, okay, just like, just like the hopeful elect, okay, they've been given that breath, okay, but you have so many of our people, okay, they're still without that breath. Again, it says, and gavest a body unto Adam without soul, which was the workmanship, see, of thine hands, and didst breathe into him, listen, the breath of life, see, and he was made living before thee. So he had the correct mindset, man. He had that wisdom, okay? He had the understanding, okay, of what the will of the Lord is. But again, you have so many, okay, they're just in the congregation, see, of the dead. Let me grab that. That's Proverbs chapter 21 and verse 16. It says, the man that wandereth, see, out of the way of understanding shall remain in the congregation of the dead. So they're dead, man. They're dead from the neck up. See, even Yahushua, okay, he made the statement, let the dead, okay, bury the dead. Now, how can a dead person bury another dead person? No, it just means that, hey, they're not part, okay, of that remnant. They're not part of those that are going to become the elect, okay, not really knowing what's happening. That's why, even this individual on the last part of the video, she said, what the fuck is going on? Because she has no idea what's going on. Again, she knows that something's wrong, but she doesn't have the true understanding, okay, that we need the Lord, man. Okay, and we're not going to get over, okay, or we're not going to make it, okay, without Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, man. Let me get one more. Let me go to the book of Revelation, chapter 11 and verse 8. And it says, see, and their dead bodies should lie in the street of the great city. Now, does that mean there's going to be all kinds of corpses everywhere? No. The dead bodies represent those, okay, in that Gentile mindset. Okay, again, those without understanding. And that great city is speaking about so-called America. It says, which spiritually, listen, is called Sodom and Egypt. Sodom because of all the nasty people, okay, all the nasty works, okay, that go on here. And Egypt, okay, which represents what? The idol worship, okay, the bondage, okay, that we're still in, man. We're still, okay, as a people in that same mindset, man, worshiping idols, okay, still in the hands of these damn devils, okay, again, but through the power and spirit of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, okay, there's a remnant. I'll read it again. It says, and their dead bodies shall lie in the street of the great city, which spiritually is called Sodom and Egypt. See, where our Lord was crucified. Okay, meaning, okay, he was X'd out because he wasn't put on the cross right here in so-called America. No, he was back there, okay, in the land of Golgotha. Okay, that's where the Lord went upon the cross. Now, that means he was X'd out here. Okay, they took away his image. Okay, they took away his purpose. Okay, they took away his name. You see, they did all this for what? Deception and deceits. Okay, that's why you have so many that's still not in their right minds, man. You see, they don't have that breath. So with that, Lord willing, this lesson was edifying. I'm going to close out and give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakah Kodash, and double honors to the apostles, the bishops, and the elders of the great millstone from which I learned this truth. Peace and blessings to the house of David doing his work with all righteousness, truth, and sincerity. And I want to say shalom to the hopeful elect. Shalom.